Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome to the 82nd Annual General Meeting of SCVO. My name is Maureen McGinn, and I have the pleasure to be SCVO's Honorary President. Firstly, a few words about today's meeting. This AGM is being recorded, and that will capture the chat as well as the speakers' contributions. It will be shared on the SCVO website and YouTube channel after the event. If you'd like to follow what's being said in writing, you can enable closed captions by clicking on the CC button, which is at the bottom right of your screen. During the AGM, the chat function can be used for questions or comments, or if you'd like to be heard, just raise a virtual hand and we will enable you to address the panel. I'll open the floor for questions at the end of the formal business. Now, it is really great to have so many of you here today. This is the 6th time that we've delivered the AGM in a webinar format. And as we've got members across the whole country, an online AGM is more inclusive and allows more of you to participate than would be possible otherwise. And we've got members representing the rich diversity of this sector, from supporting thematic and geographic communities through a range of services and activities, working in small and large organisations. We really appreciate you making time today to join us. And while webinars, Teams and Zoom are valuable in helping us connect, it is of course great to meet members face to face whenever we can. And we enjoyed doing just that at this year's gathering in February, when around 3,000 people came together over 2 packed days. And it won't be long until the gathering arrives again in February 2026, back at the EICC in Edinburgh. Now, today's AGM is going to include reflections about the year between April 2024 and March 2025. We're also going to have a look at the year that we're currently in and hear about what's happening at SCVO. As we all know, we're in another challenging year for the voluntary sector, but through all that, we also know that voluntary organisations, including the almost 4,000 members of SCVO, continue to make a massive difference in our communities and country. SCVO itself is continually evolving what we do to meet emerging needs, as well as delivering the tried and tested services that support you to do what you do so well. Before we move into the body of the meeting, I'd like to say thank you on behalf of SCVO to the people and the organisations who have helped us to succeed by funding our core work and by sponsoring projects and working in partnership with us. Now, last year, we changed the Constitution to allow voting to conclude before the AGM to enable us to manage the voting process more efficiently. Voting on motions and elections finished on the 2nd of December, and I'll now move on to the formal business of the meeting and announce the outcomes. I'm going to start with the minutes of last year's AGM, and the motion was to approve, as a correct record, the minutes of the 81st Annual General Meeting held on Tuesday, 10th of December 2024 via video link. If there are any points of accuracy or clarification, please add a comment in the chat or raise a hand. And we are monitoring for any questions or comments. So if there are no comments and there are no other points, I can confirm that the results of the vote were that the motion was passed and that there were no votes against. Item 3 on the agenda includes reports by SCVO Convener and Chief Executive. So firstly, I'd like to invite Richard Jennings, SCVO Convener, to share his reflections on the past year. Over to you, Richard.
Thank you, Maureen. So good afternoon, everyone, and thank you as always for joining us today. It's always a real privilege to be here at this annual general meeting. I was actually reminded that this is my second meeting. It's my first full year as convener of SCVO, so we've seen everything through all of the seasons. And I want to start by saying thank you to everybody, our members, our staff, our trustees and our partners. Everything we do here at SCVO is because of the collective collaboration between all of you. So in this annual report, we're looking at the second year of our 5-year strategic plan, which is ambitious for SCVO, ambitious for the voluntary sector. And that ambition has underpinned everything that we've done, whether it's supporting organizations through tough times and good times, influencing policy, or driving innovation. And this year, I think it's fair to reflect that we've also been through our own tough challenges as an organization. As always, it's our members that are at the heart of everything we do. And we've welcomed 695 new members this year, which includes 563 small organizations who benefit from free membership and targeted support. Now, overall, our numbers have actually dropped, which is actually an admin exercise. But this year, we're actually really pleased to see the continued growth in our membership as we continue to offer more services. And that actually comes on to the fact that a key part of our connection with members is our My SCVO. It makes it easier for people to access support and connect with us. And I'd encourage all of you to make sure that your boards, your staff, and your volunteers sign up for a My SCVO account. The more you engage, the more value you get from your membership. Our services are a key part of what we do at SCVO. And as costs rise across the sector, we're seeing more organizations using IT, payroll, and HR. They're affordable, high quality support, which get really good customer satisfaction. Just last year alone, we processed nearly 90,000 payslips for 430 organizations and supported 144 organizations with HR advice. Nearly 60,000 people accessed information online, with 96,000 visits to the website. So we're seeing a lot of traffic coming through, and governance is still one of the most accessed topics. On our site, you'll find lots of templates, model policies, and online governance checkup tool, a tool that we've used ourselves as a board to evaluate our own effectiveness. And last year, 283 organizations completed the checkup. And now there is improved functionality on that tool to able to see across the board. You can also get one-to-one advice sessions, and more than 50 organizations took that up last year. Learning and development is a key part of what we offer. And with almost 7,000 hours of learning last year, with 1,500 learners taking part, we're seeing a real high level of activity in that space. Good Moves is a key for the sector, and we're seeing real value there, with nearly 5,000 jobs advertised from over 1,300 employers last year. Our teams have produced a new funding guide called Enhanced Our Digital Checkup and Advice, and over 170 members accessed our pro bono partners for legal, tax, and financial management advice. It's these services that we really value providing to you and focus on what matters most. It allows you to be able to focus on delivering impact in your communities. As always, the gathering is a real highlight of the year, and over 2 days we welcomed 3,000 people to Edinburgh with 75 events and 75 exhibition stands. As always, the energy in the building is fantastic, and actually half of those who attended had never been to a gathering before, which shows we're reaching new audiences. The gathering was just launched today for next year, and we've already seen a high number of people sign up already. The Gathering Extra allows people to continue to access that after the event, and with over 400 people joined on the online gathering. For me, a key takeaway was the comments and focus around the need for collaboration, which I felt was a really strong message coming out of the event this year. We also hosted the Scottish Charity Awards, celebrating the stories and achievements of 39 incredible finalists. What was really fascinating for me was that our People's Choice Award attracted over 16,000 votes, which shows that the work that's been done in the sector is really resonating with people, and that they wanted to join in celebrating that with all of you. Our research continues to grow in influence. The third sector tracker and sector statistics have proved vital insights that were picked up by funders, policymakers, and the media to help explain the pressures we face, whether that's national insurance contributions to banking challenges. We know, and you'll know, and this was backed up by the fact that 70% of organisations told us that the national insurance increase would have a negative impact on their finances, and we're still hearing about the impact of that today. Please do keep sharing that with us, because we'll continue to do our best to share that with policymakers and government. The more that you can share with us, the more we can actually strengthen our voice when we're lobbying. Lobbying actually remains a key part of what we do, and we work at it hard. We did push back on the national insurance changes that cost our sector over 75 million, and we continue to campaign for fair funding. We acknowledge that progress is not as fast as we would like, and we have seen some wins, some multi-year pilot projects and better communication on funding timelines. We also work with council and others to produce a charter for community planning partners, promoting better collaboration with and investment in the sector. Our work on digital inclusion and capacity building is widely recognised as high quality. From AI and cybersecurity to the award-winning Digital Lifelines project, we're helping organisations and communities thrive in a digital world. The relaunch of Scotland's Digital Inclusion Charter was a significant milestone, and we're proud as an organisation of the work we've been doing on this agenda over many years. Through Connecting Scotland and other initiatives, we've supported over 10,000 people this year, providing devices, connectivity and skills training. The challenge of digital inclusion has not gone away. We've also expanded our climate action support through growing climate confidence, helping organisations build net zero plans and resilience. Over 200 organisations have completed our climate scorecard, and we're growing this work through events and partnership. I think we all know that climate action isn't optional, it is essential, and it's not an easy thing as an organisation to engage with. So I would encourage people to engage with our growing climate confidence work. Like many in our sector, SCVO ourselves has faced financial uncertainty and rising costs. And we're adapting, we're moving to smaller shared office spaces, we're reviewing our property strategy, and we're embedding blended working. This year, I'm really proud to say that we retained our Gold Investors and People Award, and our staff remain committed to our mission, despite a challenging restructure which saw some colleagues moving on. We have had to take steps to reduce costs and also work how we can ensure to generate income without compromising the quality of their work and to keep providing the services that you need. So to conclude, we exist to help you thrive, not just survive. Despite the challenges, we're very ambitious for SCVO and for the voluntary sector. Together, we can build a fairer, more inclusive Scotland. So thank you for your continued support and for everything you do in your communities. We look forward to collaborating with you in the year ahead.
Thank you, Richard. And it's always heartening to hear that despite the challenges, that to be reminded of just the range of services that SCVO manages to deliver, and to see the responsiveness of take-up, and including increased membership. So now I'm going to ask Anna Fowley, SCVO's Chief Executive, to speak about the year that we're in.
Yeah, thank you, Maureen, and thank you, Richard. Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to the AGM. I'm really pleased to be speaking to you from our new Edinburgh location in Caledonian Exchange, where we're sharing space with our friends at Young Scot and YouthLink. We moved in April and we're settling in very nicely. You can probably tell from all of us it's a bit hot, but we're working on that. So I'll do, as Richard has said, I want to acknowledge up front that the last 8 months have been quite tricky for SCVO. Like many other charities, our financial situation meant that we had to do a restructure. We lost a small number of staff, including some who'd been with us for a very long time and had done great work. I would like to thank all my colleagues for their continuing commitment, and our trustees for their support. We're in a better place now and determined to keep up a very high standard of work to support our members and the wider sector and make sure your voice is heard at all levels of government and beyond. That fragility of the funding environment is impacting on voluntary organisations across Scotland, regardless of size, type of work or geographical location. So it's no surprise that 168,000 people accessed our Funding Scotland portal over nearly 308,000 sessions last year, But this year we're working on improvements to that service to make it even more useful. And that's also why we're campaigning, why campaigning for fair funding remains central to our influencing work. As Richard said, we have made some progress. We can see evidence that national politicians and local politicians, some civil servants, understand why it's important, and also see the benefits to them and to individuals, communities and causes. But actually putting it into practice is still faltering. It's hard to pin down why that is, but I guess it's a mixture of risk averseness and entrenched bureaucracy. Fair funding is a key ask in our manifesto for the 2026 Holyrood election, and we're engaging with all the political parties to try and get commitments to that and to our other asks in their party manifestos. We're also working closely with ministers and officials in Scottish Government to try and get decisions and grant letters for 2026-27 out as soon as possible and before the pre-election period kicks in. We know that many charities and community groups are more likely to get grants from councils, and the lateness of the UK budget, the delaying the Scottish budget, which then delays the local government budgets, will also have an impact. I've discussed this with the First Minister, the Cabinet Secretary for Finance and Local Government, and the Cabinet Secretary for Social Justice. So hopefully they've heard the messages. On a happier note, we're right in the thick of finalising the next gathering that Richard and Maureen have both referred to, which is taking place on the 9th and 10th of February back at the EICC. The booking, exclusive early booking for members, open today, and it's even bigger than ever. There's 82 events, including an election hustings, championing human rights, hints and tips for applying for funding, moving into leadership, workplace wellbeing and AI. We've got 84 exhibitors and 10 fun and interactive experiences, including doggy bingo. So I'm looking forward to that. Lots of events sell out very quickly, so I'd encourage you to get online as soon as possible and book your sessions. It'll go live to non-members in the new year. For over a decade, as Richard mentioned, we've been doing work on digital inclusion, most recently through Connecting Scotland and Digital Lifelines. However, this year we have ended our long-standing relationship with Scottish Government on this issue because we fundamentally disagree with the direction of travel. We will complete the work that's ongoing, and we're looking at different options for the future. We also work really closely with our sister organisations in Wales, Northern Ireland, England and Ireland. And this year we've been working with them on the UK Government's Civil Society Covenant, which was launched by the Prime Minister in July. Because of the nature of devolution, the covenant is much more relevant in England than it is in Scotland, Wales and Northern Ireland, but it does offer opportunities for improved partnership working. Responsibility for it has passed from the Department of Culture, Media and Sport to the Partnership Unit in Number 10, which we think is a good sign, but we await some more information from the Cabinet Office around how it's going to be implemented across government. Its existence does mean that we can and have challenged announcements like the Local Growth Fund, which didn't show much evidence that the principles of the Covenant have been taken into account. The launch of the Covenant also means that we're now the only part of the UK that doesn't have a formal partnership agreement between government and the sector. So one of our election asks, our manifesto asks, is for a formal arrangement set out in statute like the third sector scheme in Wales to formalise that partnership between the sector and government. Scottish Labour have already committed to that, and we hope that other parties will do the same. As Richard said, our membership continues to grow, and we're looking at ways to grow it even more by improving our offer. And that includes work with some of our largest members, implementing the independent review of our learning offer and creating communities of practice, for example, on governance. And we're continuing to do some specific work to support specific areas such as village halls and community spaces. Our HR service has built their expertise in creative arts and heritage organisations in partnership with Creative Scotland and Museums and Galleries Scotland. So that going from strength to strength is really encouraging. Our research continues to be widely used, in particular the third sector tracker and the annual sector stats. So we're working really hard to keep that going and make the findings as accessible and useful as possible. We'll soon be publishing the findings of our workforce survey, which took place over the summer and had over 1,000 responses. So finally, I'd like to celebrate the successes of colleagues on a national stage. One of our TFN journalists, Niall Christie, was nominated for the Orwell Prize for Journalism for his story about the impact of big events such as Taylor Swift's tour on homeless accommodation. And John Fitzgerald recently won a charity category in Digital Leaders on AI for his AI expertise, and we're really lucky to have such expertise within SCVO. I hope that you can see from what Richard and I have said and from the annual report that we're doing some great things, and as members of SCVO, you can really maximise your benefits by signing up for my SCVO. I don't apologise for repeating that, as Richard mentioned earlier on. Just make sure it's not just one person, but as many staff, trustees and volunteers as possible who sign up. And get in touch with us if you'd like to find out more or to offer any suggestions for improvement. Thank you.
Thank you, Anna. And I'll certainly think about anybody I know who's an SCVO member and remind them that they need to sign up for accounts. I also really appreciated the little trailer for the gathering 2026, so I'll be making sure that I get my booking in early. Item 4 on the agenda is the Treasurer's Report, and I'd now like to invite Farah Jamadar, SCVO's Treasurer, to share the financial report from last year.
Thank you. Good afternoon, everyone. My name's Farah. It's my pleasure to present SCVO's Treasury Report for the year ending 31st of March 2025. A full copy of our annual accounts is available on the SCVO website, and I'm pleased to confirm that our auditors, Sheen and Tate, issued us with a clean audit report. As Anna has already highlighted, this has been a year of significant activity and a real impact on the sector. But financially, it's also been a year shaped by many moving parts, some positive, some more challenging. Throughout the year, we continue to face a number of external challenges. Inflationary pressure that has kept costs high across the board for SCVO and for our members. This has had some effect on the membership renewals, and we continue to take a cautious approach to how we forecast our income. Falling interest rates reduce the return we receive on our surplus cash balances also, and significantly increased national insurance rates pushed our staffing costs. As many of you know, we are all well underway with implementing our property strategy, stepping away from being owners and landlords, and instead moving towards leasing modern, energy-efficient office spaces. Progress on the sale of Edward House has been slower than hoped, but we expect to complete the transfer soon. The sale price will be lower than the original purchase cost, and this year's accounts therefore include an impairment on Edward House as well as on Fairways House. Together, these impairments account for the majority of our overall deficit for the year. Alongside this, we chose not to renew the long-term lease on Mansfield Request Centre, and we now are based at Caledonian Exchange, sharing space with YouthLink and Young Scott. The accounts reflect a provision for dilapidation costs associated with leaving Mansfield Traquair. In more positive news, we fully redeemed our outstanding bank loans in July 2024, leaving SCVO with no debt obligation, a real important milestone. Our services, Good Moves, payroll and IT all performed well during the year, and although the interest income has fallen as both cash balances and rates have come down, it still contributes meaningfully to our finances. We've also seen a reduction in pension liabilities for our legacy defined benefit scheme. However, the ongoing costs of running the scheme and the risk of future deficits remain areas we continue to monitor closely. Our core funding, which isn't inflation linked, has effectively reduced in real terms. This has required careful budgeting, and we expect this pressure to continue. Turning to headline figures, we recorded an unrestricted deficit of £577,000 on unrestricted income of £5.5 million. Our restricted deficit of £6.4 million is primarily an accounting effect. This drawdown is covered by restricted funds brought forward from previous years, mainly relating to Connecting Scotland. A detailed breakdown of restricted funds is available in Note 13 of the accounts. Importantly, our free reserves remain healthy at 4.1 million, which is 575,000 above the optimal target. This represents just over 10 months of unrestricted expenditure. Trustees will be considering how best to invest this surplus to strengthen our income generating work and crucially to support the sector. So overall, 23-24 was a strong financial year in many respects, but the operating environment remains difficult and sustainable funding continues to be a challenge across the voluntary sector. Maintaining a robust financial oversight has never been more important, and I want to record my sincere thanks to the SCVO finance team for their diligence and support to trustees throughout the year. Thank you.
Thank you, Farah. And thank you for that explanation of what sounds like a very complex financial position. Now, there's an opportunity later in the session, as I mentioned, to ask questions of all of the speakers you hear from today. But if you would like to post a question to Farah now, can you please put that in the chat function or raise a hand, and we'll just pause for a few seconds just to see if there's anything that we need to address with now. Nothing coming in. So thank you again, Farah. And agenda item 5 is the appointment of auditors. The next item is to appoint auditors and to authorise the board to determine their remuneration. And I can confirm that you voted to pass this motion with no votes against recorded. Moving on now to item 6, that's the appointment of trustees. 5 vacancies have arisen. 3 trustees have already stepped down, and Kim Atkinson and Gillian Reid McKee have come to the end of their first term. You will see that both Kim and Gillian were nominated for re-election. I'd like to thank them both very much on behalf of everyone at SCVO for their contributions over the last 3 years. This year, we received 15 nominations for the 5 elected places on the board. And the names of those 15 nominated candidates are shown on this slide. So just give you time to have a look at those. I'd like to say many thanks to all the candidates and also to everyone who voted. And I can now confirm that the successful nominees are Carolyn Lochhead from the Scottish Federation of Housing Associations, Kenny Steele from Highland Hospice, Alison Barr from Team Jack Foundation, that should be Team Jack Foundation, Chris Platt from Montrose Community Trust, and Kim Atkinson from the Scottish Sports Association. I can also confirm that our co-opted board member, Jonathan Christie, has been reappointed to the board for our second term, and we are delighted to see Jonathan return. Huge congratulations and welcome to all our new trustees. I'd also like to thank Gillian Reid McKee for her contributions over the last 3 years. Gillian, you've been an excellent trustee and you will be missed. Thank you. That brings us now to the final item of formal business, which is questions from the floor. This is the opportunity for you members to ask any questions you may have. Again, feel free to post your questions in the chat function or to raise a hand.
Yeah. And we've got one question, Maureen, addressed on finance. Do we think the adoption of the SORP 2026 will make a significant impact or difference to SCVO? No, it won't. We will have to review our accounting for lease commitments, but apart from that, most of the impact will be in the trustees' reports with extra clarifications. So no, it will minor impact only.
Right, thank you, Tim. Are there any other questions or comments in chat? No, I'm told there's none. So that really is the end of the formal business. As we've all heard, this is a time of challenge, but it also a time when we've been able to see the determination and the resilience and just the hard work of organisations in the voluntary and community sector, just tackling and taking every opportunity presented just to make a difference to people and communities. I'd like to thank everyone involved in organising and planning this afternoon's AGM, and indeed all the staff at SCVO for their work during what has again been another busy and challenging time. And thank you to the panelists joining me here today for their contributions. And of course, a particular thank you to all our members and all who have joined us here today. We really appreciate you taking time out from busy lives to participate in this. I would like to wish you best wishes for the coming holidays and a great start to 2026. I hope to see as many of you as I can at the gathering because I'm a bit of a fan and I'll look forward to it. So goodbye for now, and this meeting has now ended. Thank you very much.